This is the Red Podcast.
This is episode number 54. If you're like most people, entrepreneurs especially, you have too much email. And it's not just spam, it's emails from customers, people wanting to find out more about you. We'll talk about how to reduce email, and if you do have email, how to work with it to where it doesn't take up all of your time. That's coming up on this episode of the Red Podcast.
This is the Red Podcast. Real entrepreneur development. Make more money, work less, and live a life of freedom. No BS advice that really works. Here's your hosts, David Hooper and Laurel Staples.
I met up with my girlfriends this past weekend, and one of my friends had made a reservation for 8 of us. And we get to the restaurant, and I was the first one there, and I hadn't made the reservation, and I asked the hostess about the party that I was meeting, and she didn't have the reservation. This is not something that's really good when you're trying to meet 8 people at a place with 10 tables and they lose your reservation entirely. Has this ever happened to you, David, where someone loses your reservation?
I never go to places that require a reservation.
So you never have this kind of problem?
All my food is served in baskets, and there's usually, sometimes there's not even a restaurant. It's like a cart, one of those portable places, like street food.
That's very true. Or microwavable food, if you do that. Well, my reaction was, let's fix the problem. And as my other friends started getting there, everyone's all upset and everyone's complaining. And my friend's like, I'm going to write a note to the manager, and everyone's getting all upset. And what I do is I get on the phone and I call the 3 other restaurants in the area to see if anyone can accommodate 8 people on short notice. And within 5 minutes, I have another reservation across the street at the restaurant right across the way for a great table outside under the little pavilion area. Everything's all set up by the time we get there. And I think it's just an interesting approach of how business owners approach something and how other people tend to approach things.
Yeah, I've noticed that as well. I think entrepreneurs, if there's a problem, we go around it, we go over it, we go through it, we blow it up, deal with it that way. People who don't have that mindset tend to let the smallest things stop them.
It was just interesting because everyone kept going, oh my gosh, Laurel, you are so amazing. You were on this. And I was like, this was nothing. This was just solving the problem. Like, it doesn't take a lot of effort. You shouldn't whine or complain about anything. You just deal with what is.
Deal with what is. Absolutely.
It's just so funny. I guess I'm just used to spending more time with entrepreneurs and business owners that I just wasn't used to being the oddball out in that sort of way. So it was different for me.
It's a good thing that you were there.
I know. I saved the day.
You did. Otherwise, they would have just sat around writing nasty notes.
Pretty much, yeah. No, but we had a good time, so it was fun.
This is the Red Podcast. Red stands for Real Entrepreneur Development. We are for writers, authors, bloggers, podcasters, anybody with a message. This is the podcast where you will learn how to spread that message, how to market it, how to make money with it on your terms. This is where the 4-hour work week really exists. And this episode, we're going to talk about email, specifically how to reduce email. We got too much email, and you can handle it. And we'll talk on the next episode actually about managing email. But before you manage it, it's a good idea to see if there's any way you can reduce it. That way you don't have to deal with it at all.
This is something that I think about all the time because I don't know about you, David, but email stresses me out. It's just one of those things that's always there. It's never ending. It's kind of like going postal or something, like the mailmen that go nuts because the mail never ends. And email, it's just never ending. It kind of drives me a little nuts. I don't know about you.
Not from a big picture standpoint. I use Gmail, specifically a program called MailPlane, which manages Gmail accounts. It's on the Macintosh. And on the MailPlane icon, it will let you know how many email messages that you have. I just turn that off. Now, I will tell you that sometimes I will sit on an email. I'll see it and I'll know it's something that I don't want to deal with, and sometimes I won't open it all day. That's when the energy backup happens, because you start thinking about it and thinking about it and thinking about it. Then usually what happens is I'll open those emails and there's no problem at all. There's no big deal to handle. There's nothing. But yeah, I can understand some people, they want to have that inbox zero. I don't. I probably have a couple thousand email messages in my box.
All right, so I'm just going to lead this episode since you don't know. I'm on inbox zero right now, actually.
Well, that's why I want to reduce it.
I think that's the place to start, and that's something that I think about every week. I do this stuff that we're going to talk about every single week to get my inbox down to zero and think about how can I get things off my plate? How can I manage things easier? So I'm really excited we're talking about this subject today.
So this episode specifically is before it gets to your box, making sure that it never exists in the first place. And the first thing, this is something that I started doing, started recommending it to people, and I don't know if you're doing it. I send people somewhere else other than email if they want to get in touch with me, and that's usually Twitter. I like the fact that Twitter is 140 characters. It's easy to read. It's easy to respond to. People can't get long-winded on me, and they don't expect a long-winded response.
Twitter is a great tool for that. I love the brevity of Twitter, just that you can have a quick conversation with somebody. People can get a hold of you easily. I think it's a better platform than email for most of the things that we discuss with other people.
Do you give your email address out?
I do, yeah.
See, that's another thing that I don't do. Don't give the email address out. People can find it. It's not like it's Obama's email address. It's not under lock and key or anything. But I find that not giving my email address out, just giving them one option, such as Twitter, helps me a lot. And I've had people say, well, I don't do Twitter. Okay, well, I don't do email. That's the answer. That sounds harsh, doesn't it? But if somebody wants to get in touch with me, they need to get in touch with me the way that I prefer. And that's not just me, that's anybody. So you can't expect somebody to bow down to whatever you want. You have to go and play their game.
I find for me as well, sometimes a phone call is going to knock out about 10 emails. And for instance, I planned most of our wedding, David, if not all of it. And I swear to you, it's just like emails back and forth, back and forth, back and forth from the caterer, from the florist, from all these different people. And when I get on the phone with them, we would just knock out all the questions all at once. And it created no email that we had to go back and forth on. So if you can knock out what you do in a Twitter message, something simple, or in a quick phone call, so you don't have to go back and forth on email, that is a great way to reduce your email.
Here's another one. Don't respond to everything. It's easy to get in that trap where somebody will write you, then you respond to them, then they feel like they need to respond to you. By not responding to everything, you can stop that in its tracks.
Well, explain that more, David, because how can you not respond to people sometimes that are reaching out to you? That kind of makes me uncomfortable almost.
Well, if somebody's sending me a press release, for example, I have a lot of those kind of emails. If somebody's inviting me to something, if somebody's just giving me an update, no need to respond to those emails.
So you find it's better not to respond than to send like a 3-word response? Or
Well, there's nothing to respond to in most emails. We feel that way. It's like if somebody comes up and talks to us, we feel a need to respond in person, and I think we've taken that to email. But a lot of times, the emails that I get anyway, it's like, listen to this, come to this, here's a press release about this. Would this be a good guest post? Would this person be a good guest on your radio show or a good guest on your podcast? That stuff doesn't always warrant a response. I try to do that just out of kindness, but at the same time, if I'm bogged down, I can't possibly respond to everybody.
Although a lot of times no response is a response. And I know this because I've sent out a lot of guest posts to other blogs, and some blog owners email me back and say, great, we would love to post this guest post. And others don't email me back. And that's a no. I mean, that is a response right there. And it doesn't hurt my feelings. It's just how people respond in this case.
Well, let's talk about ways to respond. There are 2 ways that I recommend if you want to reduce email coming back to you. And one of those is what I call the 3-sentence rule. You make the response very similar to what you would do in Twitter. 3 sentences, that's it. That's going to give you a quick response. Sometimes, though, you can also add no response needed. No need to reply. Let them know right there that you're not expecting a reply. Again, because I think just out of social norms, when somebody contacts us, we feel that we have to respond to something just out of kindness.
And don't ask another question in your response email, because if you ask a question to that person, then they're going to have to respond to you, and then you're going to have to respond to them. And it's just leading, again, to that email chain that you just are trying to eliminate.
Right. You're taking care of business here. You're not necessarily being as kind as you would in another social situation. What about email lists, Laurel? These days, are you signing up for any new email lists?
I do, actually. I sign up to follow experts and people that I really enjoy, and I have a specific folder that I put those emails in. So if I don't have time to read them or look at them, they can go in that folder, and I don't feel like it's clogging up my inbox.
See, as far as mail reduction, something I would recommend is don't sign up for new lists. Or if you do sign up for a new list, make sure that it's using an autoresponder service such as Aweber, Emma, GetResponse, something that you can get off of. Unfortunately, I've been on lists for years that are manual, and technically it's probably against the law, against the Canned Spam Act, but I've got people that just send, and there's no way to get off the list. So when that happens, what I do is I set up a filter. If they do that enough, it just goes straight into my trash and I never see it. But the way to reduce that is to not give your email address out in the first place.
And I think unsubscribing from lists as well, because I do get added to lists that I did not sign up for and I do not feel like being on. So unsubscribing from lists. And that's something I was talking about in the beginning, is that I do regularly, is I go through my emails and I look at the different lists, or maybe there's something coming from Facebook or Twitter updates from LinkedIn or something like that. And I look at, do I need to be on this list? And so every time I have an email like that come in my inbox, I look at that. If I don't, I go to the bottom and I hit unsubscribe. And that's just a regular habit that I'm doing.
I do that too. If I start to see something from a single sender and I see them starting to pile up and I haven't opened them, I'll go back and I'll look at the volume. I don't mind weekly emails. I don't mind monthly emails. Somebody got in their mind that it is better for their business, for them to send you more email. The more they send, the more business they're going to get. And that may or may not be true. It's something that's worth testing. But with that said, I don't have time to read daily emails usually, unless it's really, really, really good. Usually it's not. So if I'm not opening the emails, there's no reason for me to collect them, and I'll get off those lists.
Do you get any emails from Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, what I was talking about? Any update emails or anything like that? Or have you unsubscribed from all of those?
I've unsubscribed from all of those.
Good answer.
Well, it's a warning about social media. Anytime that you sign up for a new social media service, there are 2 things to look out for. One of them is just the general updates that those services will send to you. More email, look in the preferences, see if you can not have that unless you absolutely need it. But Facebook has hijacked our emails. I get people emailing me all the time through Facebook. And if you don't want to deal with those kind of emails, you need to let people know on your Facebook page, hey, this isn't the best way to get in touch with me. For me personally, Twitter is the best way to get in touch with me, at David Hooper. And that way it sets expectations. So if they do email you, they're not expecting a response. And even if they are, you at least know that you let them know.
Also, keep in mind that when you buy products or buy something online, that a lot of times you can uncheck that box to subscribe to their email newsletter or their email list. So look out for that when you buy things online, and uncheck that box so you don't even have to deal with unsubscribing.
You know what I do when I'm very tempted with what they call a lead magnet? So an offer that somebody has in exchange for my name and email address. Something that I'll do is I'll think ahead. I'll think, in 30 days, do I really want to be getting this guy's emails? In 60 days, 6 months from now, do I really want to be getting this guy's emails? Sometimes I'm curious. Sometimes I'll do it check it out, see if I'm actually reading the emails. Sometimes I'll get the product, the lead magnet that I want, and automatically unsubscribe. But as I mentioned earlier, unless it's an autoresponder that I know I can get off of easily, that I can unsubscribe from with no problem, just a single click, rarely ever do I sign up for something. And that's something to consider when you're setting up your lead magnet. I know this is counterintuitive. You would think, hey, I want to make it tougher for people to unsubscribe from my list, but you'll actually have more people signing up for your list when they know they can get off of it easily if they don't like what you're doing. Just like you're going to have more people to send you money via PayPal than some other type of payment system, because more people are on PayPal than any other payment system.
And you want to make sure that you show people that you respect them and their email address. And one of those ways is that they can unsubscribe at any time, just like you want to feel free to unsubscribe from any list that you are on at any time.
Speaking of respect, something else I added to this list was don't CC everybody. Don't send everybody and his brother a carbon copy with your interaction with a single person, because that just allows more people to get into the email thread. Sometimes people don't know why they're on the email thread. It adds more volume to you. It adds more explaining to you. Don't CC everybody. Ask yourself, do these people really need to know? That happens all the time when meetings are being scheduled. I can't stand it. And I get invited to these things, Laurel. I don't know about you, that people in our city in Nashville, like, we'll have met at an event, we'll say, a local event, maybe like Pod Camp, and people will try to set up some kind of meeting. Hey, everybody, let's all get together. It was so great at Pod Camp. We need to get together and do it again. And they start sending the planning emails and where are we going to eat, and does the place have parking, and are there vegetarian options? And it's this big, long thread by the time I actually get to it. Huge mess. If you're going to do something like that, if you want to have an after party or any kind of event where more than one person would be involved, go ahead and set it up. Don't CC everybody on that or any other kind of email. Not unless they absolutely have to be involved with the planning process. More times than not, they do not.
I totally agree. Nothing annoys me more than long CC threads that half of it doesn't pertain to me at all. So that's a good piece of advice. And you mentioned scheduling, David, and a tool that I use and you use as well to reduce email is Schedule Once. Can you talk about how you use that for your business?
Part of the problem with scheduling is you go back and forth. Hey, does 5:30 work for you, or does 6 work for you? I really, really like Schedule Once because people don't have to confirm it. They can pick any number of available times and book it. It goes automatically to your calendar. It automatically goes to their calendar. It's really, really good. ScheduleOnce.com. And of course, we'll have all of this, everything that we're talking about, in our episode notes, which is at redpodcast.com/54. But that's a huge time saver, Schedule Once.
That's been really good for me, especially if you're not just to set up meetings, but if you're trying to set up podcast interviews or anything like that. It's just really helpful to send people to your online calendar, or vice versa if they have an online calendar, and then you can just cut out all that back and forth that is really not necessary.
Well, you know what's great about it? Not only are you scheduling the time, but you don't have to figure out what time zone they're in. And some people, believe it or not, even in the global village that we're in here, they still don't understand how time zones work. They'll say, Central Time, is that ahead or is that behind of Eastern Time? And where is Mountain Time? You know, Arizona doesn't flip time. So Schedule Once handles all of that. That's another great reason to get it.
And there are other schedulers as well. I like Schedule Once because it's what I use is $5 a month, and it just cuts down on email. It makes my life more convenient. It's just really easy to use. So that's why I picked that one.
What about spam in general? Do you get a lot of spam? I know you use the mail program on Macintosh.
Yeah, I do get a lot of spam, actually. And they have a filter on the iMail or whatever it is, but it's not very robust. Let's just say that.
Well, it probably is, but these spammers are finding ways to get around it all the time. It's tough. I've got a few different email accounts that I use. The main one that I use that I've seen that handles this very, very well is Gmail. So I mentioned MailPlane. That's a great option if you don't like web-based mail, but you still want to use Gmail. You can set up your own account within the Gmail system. It'll use their spam filtering, and I haven't had really a whole lot of spam get through using Gmail. I don't know how they do it, but they do a great job of it, and that right there will reduce your email by probably 10%.
But how will I know if Viagra is on sale and that my Chinese bride is waiting for me? See, it could be a bad thing.
That's the price you pay. That is the price you pay. I was really surprised when I went back to another email service after using Gmail for so long that there's so much spam out there. It's amazing.
There is. And when I got set up on this Mac Mail, it all started pouring in before I had the filter on. I didn't know the filter was off at that time. And I was like, oh my gosh, there is so much coming into my inbox. And it's stressful, even though you just hit delete on it and it's not a big deal. It's still stressful to have your inbox full of 300 messages that you don't have to get to, that you just need to delete. So getting that spam filter is really beneficial.
It's funny you phrase it like that because your box full of mail that you don't need, that doesn't necessarily have to be spam. And I think that's a great way to wrap this one up about how to reduce email. A lot of the emails that you're getting, even if it's not technically spam, you don't need it. Your life isn't going to change one bit. They're not orders coming through. They're not new customers coming through. It's just stuff that you don't need or stuff that could be better handled elsewhere. So if you do one thing after listening to this episode, I would suggest try to run more things through Twitter. It's really, really great. If you can't do that, you feel like you can't do that, try to go for the 3-sentence rule and let people know no response needed. That alone will make it so you don't get overwhelmed with email.
The main goal is to be able to spend time on things that are actually going to help you live the lifestyle that you want and grow the business that you want. And if you're spending all this time and all this energy answering emails that really aren't affecting you one way or another, you're wasting your time. So if you just take even those 2 tips that you just talked about, David, those things are really going to help you reduce email so you can focus on what matters.
We've got another episode that we're working on. It's redpodcast.com/55. We're going to talk about how to manage the email that you do get. Laurel and I have some tips on that. And if you're interested, redpodcast.com/55. If you've got questions, if you've got comments, we are always available to you via our website, redpodcast.com. And I've been mentioning it the whole episode, Twitter. It's a great way to get me. Red Podcast is also on Twitter, and that is at The Red Podcast. We're happy to answer your questions, take any episode suggestions. We're trying to build a community of real entrepreneurs. One of the ways that we're doing that is via iTunes. We'd appreciate if you like Red Podcast. Go to iTunes, search for Red Podcast, leave us a review, leave us a rating. That helps iTunes sort our episodes. We come up more often in the search engine results and higher on the page. More people find out about us. We're building this community, and you're helping us do that. I appreciate that. Appreciate you. Laurel, appreciate you too. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you on the next episode of the Red Podcast.
You've been listening to Red Podcast, Real Entrepreneur Development. Subscribe today using iTunes, Stitcher, or via RSS at redpodcast.com.